Hello, welcome to this instalment of 1972 Range Rover restoration. Really just remedying paint and stuff. So also chatting with the auction house because they might have a deal on the burner for me. Fingers crossed, eh? Let's see what happens. It's a Sunday and the guys are working on Sundays. I mean, how good is that? These guys are really dedicated to their jobs. Right, let me show you what I've been up to. First of all, let's have a quick look and see what's going on in House Martin World. Where are they? They're up there. You see the little fucking beaks poking out over the edge? Little bastards. There's lots of noise with parents just flying around the barn, squawking at me. So up here, if I just go around the areas that I'm going to be dealing with, first and foremost, you can see the effect of blocking back this driver's side. It is much better, and it's also much better from top right the way down to the bottom. Pardon the expression for now. It needs a good coat of wax on it. I've taken the grills off the side here because I really want to polish these panels up properly. You can see up here, you see kind of the effect of the orange peel, which I still need to work on this top panel here. It doesn't take long to block this thing back. 3, maybe 4 minutes of very careful use with some 1500 grade paper, which is all I've done with that. There's no polish on that, there's no wax on that. That is literally 1500 grade paper that's got that shine. So I just need to finish this bit up here and get that looking as good. There's some small imperfections in the paint which I knew about along this edge. So I've cut it back, flattened it all back, and I'm going to dust in some solid paint over the top of that. I'm not quite sure what to do about that little piece there. I might get Mr. Dremel out and just take that tiny little piece off there. Just to tidy that up. The rest of this panel I'm fairly happy with. There's a little bit down there that's gone in. I'm going to have to be really careful because I know there's silicone in this joint, so I'm going to have to, because you can't put paint near silicone, so I'm going to have to mask this up carefully and see if I can waft that in and paint this chunk. Rear light needs to come out. I've flatted back the B post, so that's beautifully smoothed down. Just wants a polish. I've cleaned back all of the shut faces, and again I've flatted this all back here. This was a clear over base paint job that went on here. Look at this lot up here. This is all they bloody do all day long. They sit up there, they look at me. Look, here he goes. And then the other one's going to come up here in a minute. They're just irritated fucking things. I was here first, chaps. Right, so all of this needs to be cut back. A post at the bottom is fine. I'm happy enough with that. A post at the top had quite a few runs and odds and sods. There's no longer runs on it. This is all just where, and that's the it's not going to do it. That there is the damage that was caused by the rivet on the top of the frame. So let me go the other way round because this thing is struggling with the light outside the barn. So flatted back the A post. Again, that was a bit too orange peely, so that's completely flatted back. I'm going to mask it up, put some rope underneath the seal, take the bead out, put some rope under the seal, mask up the seal, mask up the door, and lob some paint on the A post. But of course the car's a bit wet at the moment because it's been raining. This piece at the top of the door here, it's been dressed better, so there's a high spot right there. You knew all about that. I need to put a smidge of filler along here. I think I might even need to just cut this edge. I'm still working out what I'm going to do with that, so I haven't done anything yet. Down at the bottom, I just need to block this piece back. Once I've blocked that piece back, then I can cut a piece of paint in there. That's no problem at all. While I'm at it, I can cover up that high spot. That high spot there, which I managed to flat right the way through along the edge there, just dust along the edge. And there's a tiny high spot at the front there. And that's this wing, then will be done. I need to flat the paint on the edge of the bonnet. It's just very slightly orange peely compared to the deck. The deck panel's the worst bit on this car really, as far as paint's concerned. There are lots and lots of imperfections. It's not great. So that's this side, and then this side will be done. A post, B post, door, bottom, wing, and bits and bobs I can just do as one big chunk, mask it all up and just do those bits. I'm only going to touch in localised areas. Just put some 2-pack paint over the top of it. That needs a bit of primer there because it's gone right down. That's going to need a bit of filler up there, and there's also a dent on the door which I might be able to capture. The dent is here. Very shallow dent. It's irritating all the same. Do this, polish the D-post. The scratch needs addressing, so I'm probably going to end up having to take the letters off, flat that whole thing back, waft a bit of paint over it, polish it back. Same colour paint, not a problem. This piece, exactly the same as on the passenger side. Just wants cutting back and putting on the top. I don't not quite sure why. You see here, we've got nice shine down here, and then it blends out, and it's not kind of painted at the top. Not quite sure why not, but never mind, it happens. There's enough paint going on this. This panel needs to be flatted back still. I started flatting it, but then kind of gave up. You can see the effect there of the orange peel. So this is kind of what the auction house was telling me about. It looked good, but it wasn't beautiful. This has been flatted back. It's dirty at the moment. There's birds flying in and out and not helping. Most of the pieces I'm painting are vertical, so there's less chance of bird shit landing on it. On this side, I've started blocking back, and again, you can see a good reflection along the side. It's not bad. Still working at it. There's a dent here, for some reason. And there's a dent here, for some fucking reason. I don't know why. Door, tiny little bit needs dusting along the edge, just because I wore through while I was blocking. So I'm going to finish off blocking first of all before I put any paint near this. Leading edge of the door I'm happy with. No problems at all. Tiny little bit needs dusting in there after the blocking. And then this wing, similar problem to the other side. So might need a tiny bit of filler down here. A post needs taking back. B post. In fact, can we get the light on this so you can see? You can. There we are. There's the light. Okay, it's flickering a little bit because of the strobe on the light, but you can see that's quite orange peely. It's not the crest. It's shiny, but it's orange peely. So that's going to get flatted right back. And if there's enough paint on it that I don't go through it, then I'll just be able to... no, I'm not going to be able to polish it because that's a clear coat. There's this piece up here on the roof gutter, which I don't know what the paint shop was doing. Sorry for the strobing. It's this Colite. I don't quite know what was going on with the paint shop, but they seem to have made a mess of that bit there. Deck on this side, I started blocking it back. Birds have got no respect, have they? I'm still working out what I'm going to do with the deck panel. The rest of this wing on this side is really good. Okay, I still need to fix it to the bottom there, which is why it is not in line with that sill trim. Now, sill trim on this side, you can notice that when I put that into the right position, the panels are in a dead straight line right the way across the bottom there. On this side, they're not. So the front wing is secured. The back wing sits slightly proud. Now also, the trim panel curves in towards the middle of the car rather than curving out like this one does. That one curves out as it gets towards the back end. This bit here, you see it curves out and the wing sits on top of it. I've got another one of these fellas, but I think this is actually distorted. Shut up. This thing's distorted slightly. You can see a crease there. And if I pull it out slightly, it sort of goes into the same sort of shape and then the wing sits on top of it. However, when I put the wing on to it as it stands, the wing is no longer straight. So the wing needs to sit at that sort of angle. I can't push it back. Door shut's nice though, doesn't it? As far as the lining up of the door is concerned, I have been fiddling and fucking around with this thing constantly. It fit against the original wing that was on the back of this car. It will not fit against the new wing that's gone on this car. So I can get it to line up. That line, not too far on that line, and mine out on that line. I tried raising the door up. Don't make any difference. So I just think it is poor panel fit on the new wing to the old door. Unfortunately, it could well be that this panel is pressed slightly larger than the old one, because the old one, and I've been back to it, the old one fits absolutely beautifully. There's nothing I can do about it. And I think that's what happens. I don't know if they pressed the panel out on a used press, or whether they built a brand new press, or whether they beat them out by hand. But that's a brand spanking new rear wing, Jaguar Land Rover wing. And I just cannot get it to fit properly at the top here. The bottom bit, I suspect, is, and again that fit on the old wing, but I geared the whole thing up for the original wing and then took it off. I can always put it back on, I suppose. It's in here somewhere. Where is it? It's in this box. No, that's the original passenger side wing, so it will be in this box, I suspect. Well, I can take those. I can take some measurements off it. But the problem with this, if you remember, was that the paint is all shrunk and cracked around the arch. So it really needs taking back. It cost a lot of money to get that sorted out and painted, and then the paint shrank. It's just the way this shit goes sometimes. Right, so let me continue blocking back and get some paint on this, and I shall report back on progress. Despite constant interruptions from these fellas, we've got it all masked up now. I'm going to paint the B post, and I'm going to paint this rear corner, and I'm going to hope that we keep the paint overspray to an absolute fucking bare minimum. There we go. I'm going to use not a lot of pressure, not a lot of paint. And I've got the edges folded up here for a nice blending, but I'm not planning on going anywhere near as far up that panel as that, and I'm hoping that we're going to be able to cut this back fairly easily here. So there's that piece there, piece at the top there, along that edge. There's a mark there, which is why I've not masked this entire panel off, so I'm just hoping that that will just catch a little bit. Right, mixing paint. Throwing some paint at it. It's enough paint on there for me to be able to flat it back later on. That's come up quite nicely. Next I'm going to work on this front wing, the edges of it. Basically get everything apart from that bit done, which I'm still thinking about. Front wheel arch, blah 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 blah. Get all this sorted out. I can polish this whole thing, whole side apart from that tiny bit. Oh, I need to do this A-post as well. That needs doing. Let me see if I can get this bloody thing into a better state. But yes, it's starting to come together. And the other side, the paint went on about an hour and a half ago, so it's firming up quite nicely, but straight out of the gun. But it will blend in, don't worry. There's a fairly smooth feathered edge there. But once I get the wet and dry on that fine, it will look beautiful. It is indeed astonishing how much masking you've got to do just to do an A-post, a B-post. I've still masked up in there. Arse. Go for a P. On this side, I've done the A-post, but there's a very slight reaction just on the edge there, so I'm going to flat that back and give it another go. Once the screen rubber goes out, it covers most of the imperfection. Once that's flatted back, it's going to look beautiful. B-post, I'm pleased with. That's going to flat back really nicely, and the D-post area just looks astonishing. Again, once it's flatted back, beautiful. So I need to just, birds come in, fly around my head, bugger off out again. I just need to mask up in here so I can paint inside. Right, because I need to basically paint this area here. This bottom section on the passenger side wings turned into a bit of a ball's egg. It is split. So what I'm going to have to do is to punch that in a little bit and then put a dab of filler in it, which is the next step. The rest of the door's been flatted back, ready for polishing. A-post. I went through the fucking paint. Twat. This side is faring better. We've got a nice solid shine on this, just wants polishing back now. A-post again, looking really good. Just one tiny paint reaction down here, which I flatted right back to the undercoat. And then I'm going to paint that while I paint this, and I've beaten this. So basically because the problem was I had a high spot pretty much where that black dot is there, which is, might be a hole, I don't know. Punching the inner skin, persuading that piece to go that way, has got rid of the high spot. So now I use a nice straight edge. I go along here. We've got a straight edge all the way along. There's a couple of tiny dents. There's one pretty much where the Z of tool zone is, and then obviously I need to fill the top up here. So I'm going to give this a wee skim of filler. The outer edge of the door skin, you can see there, it's got a high spot on the outer edge of the door skin. I'm not going to fuss around with that. I think that the door skin is straight enough that I'm not going to go absolutely nuts getting this thing perfect. It does bow out in the middle, subtly, from one end to the other. In fact, the whole car goes from quite a narrow point at the front, bows out to the back end of the door, which is the widest point, and then narrows back off again at the back end. That's why these things are so bloody difficult to get right. I've trimmed this rubber back because it was just in the way, and it's rubbish anyway, and it's going to get replaced, and it looks better without the serrated bottom edge on it. I'd like to see if I can tidy it up by gluing another piece of rubber over the top of it. I don't think I've got a better one than that. I will have a quick look through this store, and then Mr. Paint again. The only other issue I had with the paint, some reason this corner and this back wing is a very, very slightly different shade from the rest of the fucking car. So when I put some paint on it, you could see I could not get rid of the line. In fact, you can just about see the line there. I flushed it right back on the back wing, so I'm going to mask along the join here and just paint this top section. Okay, it's close enough that from one panel to the next you're not going to notice the difference, but on one panel it became too obvious. I've just been touching a bit of paint in. It's gone on quite nicely. This is where that split was. I put a tiny dab of filler in there, and then I've painted over. There's a slight reaction up here, but I'll soon block that out. It's low enough not to matter. I've tidied up that piece there on the B pillar where I rubbed through. That's done. This rear corner, so I painted the whole of the top of the rear corner. That's pretty much straight out of the gun. It's looking good, huh? And where I had all the dents on this door, it's filled. And you can see now I've got a nice straight line. There's a slight high point, very, very slight high point, but several million times better than it was. And I've also just tidied up that slight reaction I had on the A-post there. So I think I'm going to let this lot go off now. I'm not going to fuck around and put any more paint on this, just checking that piece there. You can just slightly see the bloody filler through there. It's reacted, so what I might do is need to let it go off hard for now, and then put some more paint over the top of it. I had a similar problem with the bonnet. The bonnet, you could see where the filler was, and that's all kind of fixed itself. It's very, very dirty, this car. Needs a good wash. I think I've just sussed out what's wrong with this sill trim here. It's not bent at the back. It's a passenger side one. What a doofus. I wonder. No, because I think the piece behind the door is longer. Oh, yeah, I think it is passenger side. What an ass. Got it all flatted. It's ready for polish now. I mean, there is a sheen to it. But now what we're going to do is give this thing a polish end to end and see how it responds. Having pretty much got this side now sorted out, I've noticed on the other side where I've blended this wing in, there's a line. I'm going to see if I can polish that further out, see if I can get that sorted. A little bit irritating. Worst comes to the worst, I'll have to paint this top piece up here end to end. It's not a huge disaster, but it's just fucking irritating. Right, polish! That's the first cut done. As far as a cut, I'm happy enough with that. So it's blocked it, cut it. I'm going to put some polish over the top now. The house martins are up here. That's what I'm talking about. Put another coat of wax on that later on, but that is beautiful. And also, back here, it all looks completely the same colour. Because it fucking is. Yes. So that's the paintwork on this side done. Detailing now. Yeah, it's really happy with that. And the reflections on the side are just, you know, really good. Very, very flat paintwork. The little bits that I need to do, like that in there. See that? That's where I kind of put a body sealer and never quite managed to finish it. So these are all the jobs I need to do before the next auction. Same on this side. It's just a mess. Needs sorting out. I'm pleased with that. I have my doubts about that front wing because for some reason the paint went on like porridge, and I was using high pressure and low volume, and I just don't know what was going on with it. Just bad day in the paint shop. Paint on the door went on, I was happy enough with it, and that flatted back really easily. I had to be really careful with the wing though. I had to take quite a lot of orange peel out of it, but as you can see, there ain't no. Right, while I was walking around looking at the car, and I know I had a problem with the blending in on this side, the shine on this wing at the back here, I noticed it's a bit ripply, just around here. So I might take that back a little bit, and if I end up going through to the primer, I'm going to end up painting this top piece anyway. This side needs polishing back right the way now, and then bonnet and roof, and we're done. Well, we're done on the paintwork. Everything else. Good effort, eh? Good effort. Well done, Richard. Nice job. I'm going to get a cup of tea. Got the paint on it. It's gone on nice, except for there's moisture in the air. You can see the little pinpricks there where the moisture's got it. I'm hoping, because I put it on really kind of with a lot of thinner and a fast activator, that it has gone off really, really quickly. I'm not going anywhere near it at the moment. In fact, I'm standing here guarding against the fucking birds from flying over. You can see the reflection out of the gun. It's come out quite nice. So at the moment, I've got a bit of a quandary, because up here, well, these little bastards are. Say hello, little bastards. Hello, little bastards. They're big, aren't they? Monsters. They don't even fit in the nest anymore. Right, okay, so I can't move the car any closer that way because it'll be under the nest. And you can see where the nest is. It's a big pile of shat on the floor. There we go. There goes one of them. They fly in that way and up to the nest. So I've got it as far back as I dare put it. But then, stand here. I can't put it any further forward, so I'm just going to, I don't know, you can see the storm is coming in. This is the storm that we've had a week's worth of warning for. They've cancelled everything in Devon and Cornwall for. God, I love it, haven't you? It's only a bit of fucking rain. Anyway, so, yeah, I think this will be the last bit that I need to paint on here. It's going to need a little bit of flatting back tomorrow. I was just checking the forecast to find out at what point we'll get heavy rain, and that seems to be an hour away, so I think by which time this should be okay. See, I stand over here and the bird flies over the top of the car, like that. Fucker. So I'm going to go and stand over here, because then the bird flies the other side of the car. So really just out here monitoring the weather at the moment, waiting for this paint to fully go off, which it's going to need an overnight, really. I haven't got heat lamps or anything, but it's reasonably mild. It's about 20 degrees at the moment, so I wouldn't expect it to take a huge amount of time to go off. I had to flat back big time along that channel there. Remember, the paint was cracked where it shrunk, and we'll see if it shrinks again. But other than that, I think that is genuinely the last bit of paintwork I had to do on it, because I flatted the bonnet back, and I looked at this panel and I thought, oh dear, it's got orange peel. So I started flatting it back and I went straight through the paint. So bollocks to it. I'm going to paint it. Right, so this car is now signed up for the Brightwell's auction at Leominster on the 4th of September. So I'm rather hoping we're going in there with a very, very competitive reserve, very risky reserve, risky for my balls, that is. And we're hoping that, I'm hoping, it's quite a strong Land Rover show, this one. There's a lot of Land Rover entries in there. I suspect that Jaguar Land Rover are dumping a lot of their stock through the auctions at the moment. I've seen quite a few XJSs and Series Land Rovers and Range Rover projects that seem to be flooding the market at the moment. It might work out for me, actually, because if there's enough of them, they're going to go for pounds rather than thousands. And I might be able to pick up some spare parts. Oh, here comes the rain. We go here, we see the bird flying in a minute. They go out there and I think they just catch airbornes, midges and things. And they catch one and they bring them back in again and they feed the little buggers. They really should have flown the nest by now. Yeah, so like I was saying, there's quite a lot of Jaguar Land Rover stuff, I think, that's been dumped on the market, which, if I was selling a project car, I'd be pretty pissed off because it would be worthless right now because there's so many of them out there. But because I'm selling a restored car, I'm rather hoping, and talking to the auction manager, rather hoping that it's going to work for me anyway. That's not bad, is it? It's not bad at all. I am pretty pleased with the way that's gone on. I just need to protect it for another 15-20 minutes or so, and I think that will have gone off, because down here I'm going to have to flat that back. That's not bad. The trouble is the masking tape, it stays tacky on the masking tape, it soaks into it, but the paint on the car there has gone off. Fuck is that? I don't know what that is. It's just a bubble. I'm hoping it's not a raindrop or something. I'm not going to unwrap this thing yet, but I do need to unwrap it before I go pack up tonight, because otherwise this paper's just going to blow all over the place tonight in the big old storm. And it's just got to kind of the fuck stage. The heavens have just opened. The water's there. The car's here. Can't go any further forwards because of the risk of bird shit, but I might just fucking have to. Yeah, I'm getting moisture on my back. Let's push this car back forwards. You can see there, moisture started coming in. I think the paint's gone off enough that it will be okay. But there's the nest. The nest is now above the nose of the bonnet. I've got a lot of paper on it. I'm just hoping that when it comes to feeding time, she decides not to shit on my car on the way past. There's no alternative. I'm in the hands of the gods. Right, packing up, because there's fuck all else I can do out here. They're out of the nest. They're all sitting up here, look. The nest is empty, 4 little chicks. Anyway, it survived the evening. There are a few marks on it. I'll block those back. There's enough paint on this thing I can block it back. But what I need to do really is polish this bonnet and get a couple of pictures in the next time it stops raining, so that I can get them off to the auction house. So let me polish the bonnet first of all, clean up the glass and get some pictures. They basically want 3/4 kind of images, so you've got that image, but it needs to be in the field really, and same on the other side, so they can see the front and they can see the sides. You can see already how much better this is up here. Much better. Tied all that crap up there. Look at that. Aerial needs to go back on. Ah yes, we're getting there. We are getting there slowly but surely. And they're all flying. There's 3 chicks there and 1 adult. One chick's disappeared somewhere. There he is. No, that's another adult. There's another chick somewhere. There he is. There's the 4 chicks. Silly fuckers. There goes little one. Hey, look at you little fellas. Look. Hey. Silly little bastards. Right, okay. Bonnet's come up nicely. I'm going to put a coat of wax on it. I've lost my bloody screen clean. I need to get this windscreen clean. There's quite a lot of crap on it. Just one final check. There's only, I think all the chicks have actually flown. I'm pretty sure they have all flown now. They might come back. That's 4 chicks flown this morning. Probably my fault. Everything's my fault. Right, okay, so polish the bonnet. I haven't waxed it yet because I'm coming back at the weekend. That side is looking superb. This side is looking superb. Right, okay, a little bit damp now because it was raining outside. So I'm just trying to get how uniform the colour is. I can't do anything about this. Jaguar Land Rover sell panels that just don't fucking fit. Jaguar Land Rover sell panels that don't fit. Right way round. Still need to put the back number plate's been fixed, by the way. I just haven't put it back on yet. There, look. It's nice, isn't it? New cover. Tailgate shuts nicely. Other side. I need to do these. So this one, I'm just going to use some black bumper paint. Oh, you know what? I'm going to put on. I'm going to put the bloody Range Rover badges on the side. I have to do this again. Let's do it again. The Range Rover badges on the sides. Silly arse. They are in. There's 1. There's 2. What a silly arse. What a silly arse. Running straight as a fucking nut now. I don't know what that was all about. I really don't. I really have no idea what that was all about. Probably because it's missing the birds already. Right, they're on. Let's go back out again. See, they've all flown. The whole fucking lot. All flown. All flew this morning while I was polishing the bumper. Polishing the bumper. That's not a euphemism. Right, that door closes nicely. Handbrake's working today. Let me go up to the top end of the paddock. Can I get round there? I can. Try to run those trees over. That'll do. Although the steering wheel looks cracked, and it is cracked, it's just the plastic coating on it. You can't get them new, you can't get them old. I mean, the only option for this would be to have the whole thing stripped back to a bare metal frame and then have it redone. I've got to clean this crap all over the steering wheel, but it needs to be cleaned up. Right.